Hello everyone, I'm so excited to be doing another series. It is called Back to the Basics series. I will try and do a video at least once a week. That is going to be my goal. For anybody wondering exactly why I haven't made any videos or done any series, sorry, I definitely always want to stay true to myself along with being true to everyone. So if it's not in my heart, then I don't want to speak knowledge or help anybody because I feel like I would only be doing you an injustice. So sometimes the world and everything that the world throws at you can definitely take a toll on you. Sometimes you have to go back to the basics and figure out who you are, what makes you happy, what are you going to become. In this series, I want to go a little bit more in depth on how. How can you be happy? How can you find joy? How can you love others? So for series 1, I'm just going to name it Back to the Basics and How to Do This. I know it might sound simple, but I also think that life, there are so many simple things that we can do to help ourselves, but we choose not to do them. So how to do this, how to get back to the basics. Number 1, I feel as if you should have some me time. I would say 10 to 30 minutes a day. I think if you can do more, please do more. But for the average person that might have a family that goes to work, that's working out, 10 to 30 minutes a day might suffice. So I definitely think that being able to sit down, and I mean by yourself, no husband, no wife, no kids, no family. I mean, literally, you are by yourself. Turn the TV off, turn the internet, turn the phone off, have yourself some personal time. Me, personally, I think that's a big reason as to how even LPHREE came about. If I never had that me time and was able to figure out what made me happy, where do I want to see myself in 5-10 years, LPHREE probably would not exist. I always have a journal. I always have a spiral. If you can see, I have my thoughts. I write things down all the time because you might have an idea. An idea might come to you and you might not be able to use that idea. Maybe what if it's 5 years? Maybe it's a year, a month, a day, whatever the case might be. Writing things down helps me. If writing things down does not help you, then find another way. But I also think that having your time to yourself and being able to talk to yourself is the best way to get back to the basics, to be able to find out love, passion. I always say happiness and joy, and I don't know, spreading happiness, because so many people are so negative. And I think that was a thing that sort of deterred me to not write as much as I had been in the past, just because every time I get on Yahoo, I mean, literally it is negativity, negativity, negativity. You rarely see any positive messages out there. You rarely see different things like that. And I feel as if you can succumb to it. I really do believe that some people, by the time they get to their family, they're drained, they're tired because of their boss. And it could be because of yourself too. So I think having the me time is definitely valuable in your life. You can sit down, you can answer questions, you can talk to yourself. Did I have a good day? Well, no, my boss yelled at me. My friends hurt my feelings. My husband did this. I mean, it could be whatever is going on in your life that maybe you think you didn't have a good day. And then you also have to realize that, guess what? Somebody else's day was probably a lot worse than yours. So maybe you did have a good day. I sometimes try to put myself in other people's footsteps and see, Melissa, you complain about this. You're arguing with this person. You think this person is that. Okay. Then I hear a story and I'm like, wow, maybe I need to be quiet. And maybe I need to have some more me time and realize that, guess what? You had a wonderful day compared to this person. And if you were in their shoes, how would you feel? That I'm complaining about something so minor. So sometimes I feel like you have to take that in. You have to realize that There are people in the world that are suffering. There are diseases that cannot be cured. There are families that are hurting, and we're complaining because your boss yelled at you. I mean, you know, and I get it. It's life, and we're all human, and sometimes, you know, you're like, I really did have a bad day, and I get it. But I also think that instead of complaining so much, maybe in your meantime, and, you know, when you actually have your me time, maybe you can be thankful. Maybe you can be grateful for the yelling baby that you have, that maybe you can't get any sleep because maybe somebody else doesn't have or can't have kids, or maybe lost a child. So sometimes, you know, in your me time, I think you can actually, when you don't have a lot of noise, you don't have a lot of distraction, you can be thankful and grateful for your life. And I think that when you wake up in the next morning, you're going to have a better attitude. And that's where I feel like getting back to the basics starts. Stop letting the media, letting friends and family dictate how you should live your life. I think that once you get to a certain age, you have to be able to differentiate the difference between you and somebody else. But anywho, I think that is definitely a huge, at least step number one, I would say. Number two, this is huge. Staying true to yourself. So as I've gotten older, I've realized who I am, who I want to become. And I think that some people, it can take to your 70s sometimes to really figure out who you are. But start now. Start when you're 16, trying to figure out who you are. Listen to yourself. See what type of music you like. See what makes you happy. But you have to do what makes you happy. If it makes you happy in your heart, as long as you're doing something good. If you're doing bad, then I'm not going to be able to support you. But if you're doing good and you might just be a little different and your friends and family think you're different, who cares? I've always been different, and I am okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I think that being different is what makes us special. None of us are the same. We're not. Everybody has different qualities. Everybody is built different, looks different, and that's okay. You don't want to be the same. You want to be special. So once you realize who you are and what, I guess, is going to make you happy, staying true to yourself, I think, has a big thing to do with it personally. I wasn't happy for a long time, or maybe I thought I was happy, but I really know what true happiness is now. So at the time, I might have thought I was happy, but I really wasn't. I was still trying to find myself and figure out this big world. You know, I'm one person. What am I going to do? Well, I'm doing it now. I might not have a lot of followers. I might not even have anybody that likes any of my posts. And I might never book a job where I can help people and speak to people and being able to speak to a large audience. It's okay, because I'm doing something that makes me happy. Me doing this video makes me happy because it might reach somebody. It might reach somebody that was just like me, that had no idea what they wanted to do, and they were always sort of weird and different. Yes, that's okay. It's okay. That it only means that you're going to continue to grow and be something special. So listening to yourself, having some me time, and I'm being extremely serious. My videos will never be perfect. I'm sorry. It's just me. I am literally just speaking from my heart. So if I mess up, I'm sorry. I don't have the video editor and things like that, so you do have to bear with me. But I want to be true to this message, and I really hope, really hope that you at least take 10 to 30 minutes a day and seriously talk to yourself. What made you happy? What didn't make you happy? What are you going to enjoy? I think some people work out. I like to do yoga personally. I have my good days, I have my good weeks, I have my bad weeks where I just don't go as much as I should, and that's okay, because that is on me. And I know everybody's into doing yoga and everything now. The reason why I did yoga is because I was like, I feel like this is something I should do. It's quiet time. I do hot yoga. I think that you can meditate, and having that hour of your time to where the class is quiet. So you're stretching, you're finding your foundation, and you're sort of finding yourself too, because you're learning how to, in my opinion, learn how to fly in a sense. And what I mean by that is, if you're not flexible, if you can't do certain things, yoga will get you to that point. If you're serious about it, your body will learn to do things that it probably couldn't have. It's just like every day. If you get up and you try, it doesn't matter how many times you fail. In my opinion, you're succeeding because you continue to get up and you try. I think life is about trying new things and not being afraid to embarrass yourself, to go and do it. Who cares? When I went there, I was like, I know I'm going to be the worst one in class. I can already tell you that. And I am. I'm still am. To this day, probably the worst one in the class. And I'm okay with that. Because every day, just go in there and I keep to myself and I do something that I enjoy. And I think that's life. I think that's about finding happiness in life, doing something you enjoy. If you hate your job, you hate it, leave. Find something else. There are billions of people. There are billions of other jobs. I'm serious. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. But how will you know if you're not happy? If you don't have any me time. If you don't sit with yourself, get a pen and paper. Write down your feelings. Express yourself. Be true to yourself. Go back to the basics. And that to me is going back to the basics. Going back to a time where you can sit down and actually relax and the world is not, you feel like the world is not on your back all the time. That's getting back to the basics. That's being able to find yourself. That's being able to look at where you want to go in life, your journey. If you don't know where you want to go, what do you want to do, you're just sort of all over the place, literally all over the place. I was there once. You haven't found yourself. When you find yourself, even if it's a few different things, that's perfectly okay. But literally, if you're saying you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a teacher, you know, you want to be a rapper and a musician and all that, you have too much going on. Who are you? And that's what I'm asking you. Back to the basics.